Hi, today we are doing a Hatha Yoga class that veers more towards the gentle side. We'll be working on our spine today. So our spine moves in different directions. We go back and forth and side to side, and it also rotates and twists. So let's be sure to hit all those directions. Get started in a comfortable seated position. So be sure to prop yourself up on blankets if you need a little lift. Okay? Cross-legged or easy pose with one shin in front of the other. Place your hands on your knees, on your thighs, and close your eyes. We'll take a few moments to ground at the start of the class. So connection with the breath, flowing in and out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose, let the lungs expand fully. And as you exhale, soften the facial features, breathing out through the nose. Inhale in through the nose. And breathing out through the nose, and soften your jaw and your cheeks and allow your shoulders to relax. One more breath. And with this exhale, soften your limbs. One more inhale in through the nose. And this time, exhale, breathing out through the mouth. Soft sigh. Good. Gently open your eyes and welcome. So we'll start off with your chin towards one shoulder. Rotate your chin down towards the chest, all the way to the other shoulder, drawing a semicircle. So chin down towards the chest, back to the first shoulder. And one more time on each side. And gaze forward. Let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. Left hand can walk away from the body, reaching away. You just want to feel the stretch to the neck. Okay, so if you want to play around with the angle of the chin, try rotating it down a little or lift it up until you find a good stretch, and then stay with it for a couple more breaths. Back to the center. Left ear, left shoulder. Right hand can walk away from the body. Okay. If you need a little bit more, you can try rotating the chin a little until you find that good stretch and stay with it. Good. Coming back to the center. Place your right foot flat on the ground and have your right knee pointed up towards the ceiling. Right hand somewhere behind you. And wrap your left arm around that right knee, bringing the ribs a little closer towards the thighs so that you can sit a little taller. Inhale to lift and sit a little taller. Exhale to twist and a soft gaze over the right shoulder, being very gentle with this. One more deep breath here. And wind back to the front and place your right hand on the ground. Back to your comfortable seated position, right hand on the ground. Take your left hand, reach it up and over. So perhaps turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. We don't want to collapse the top shoulder, so if you gaze up, perhaps that left shoulder will open up a little bit more. Continue to reach with that left hand. Just a little bit more space through that left side of the body. And inhale your way back up. Place your left foot flat on the ground with the left knee pointed up. Left hand somewhere behind you. Wrap the right arm around the left knee. Sit a little taller with the inhale and exhale to twist. Turn your gaze over that left shoulder. Unwind back to the front and bring your feet back to a comfortable seated position. Left hand on the ground. Right hand reaches up and over. Great side stretch. Stay with it and keep the breath flowing. Slow and steady. Exhales as long as it inhales. Take the inhale to come back up to seated. Let's roll our shoulders up towards the ears. Take a big inhale as you do that. And as you exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, rolling the shoulders down and back. Very deliberate. Inhale. Squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale. Down and back. One more time. And this time, place your fingertips on the ground, slightly behind you. Push into those fingertips to puff your chest up towards the ceiling. Lifting your chin up slightly, maybe feeling a stretch to the front of the neck as you do that. Take one more breath here. And then relax. Come back to seated. Place the soles of your feet together and let the knees open up. Don't worry if your knees are hiked up quite high to start off with. That's fine. You can do a few things here. You can sit with your hands by your hips and push into the floor so you feel a little bit more of a stretch through the groin, the inner thighs, and then maybe push yourself slightly forward. Okay? And you can stay right here or release into a forward bend. So cobbler's pose, holding on to your legs or hands on the ground and just rounding the spine gently. Chin tucks in slightly. One last deep breath here. Okay, let's make our way back up to seated. And we'll make our way into tabletop pose next. So coming down to our hands and knees. So as you come down to your hands and knees, make sure your knees are comfortable. If you need blankets under it, please feel free to pat them. Spread your fingers out wide. Have your knees about hips width apart and your toes pointed straight back. Okay. Put some weight onto your fingertips here as well. Now we'll push down into the hands and to your knees to arch the spine, coming into cat pose. So doing your best to spread the shoulder blades, chin tucks in slightly, push the mid back towards the ceiling, keeping it gentle. And next inhale, allow your belly to drop. Press your chest through those arms a little and lift your chin up slightly. One more time, exhale. To arch the spine. And then inhale, allow the belly to drop. Chest presses through those arms, lift your chin up slightly. Come on back into your tabletop. If possible, tuck your toes under. Gives the feet a little bit of a stretch here as well. Walk your hands slightly forward. Come into puppy pose. So if you're pretty tight in the shoulders, puppy pose may look more like a down dog on your knees, and that's fine. You feel a stretch to the front of the shoulders and the chest. If you need a little bit more, if you're a little bit more open, come into more of a chest melting down towards the ground pose, so puppy pose. Now, as you do that, your hips are high. You feel that stretch to the front of the shoulders, the chest. Do your best here to melt. Yeah, one more deep breath. And then coming back up into your tabletop. And let's make our way onto our forearms next. Coming down to your forearms. Elbows about shoulders width apart. Forearms on the ground, and you interlace your fingers or palms together. Okay. From here, take the right leg and stretch it back. So right leg stretches back. And take it over to the left side, so crossing over to the left side and lower the foot on the ground, tucking the toes under. Now as you do this, push the heel back and have your hips shift slightly forward so you create a crescent shape with the spine. Come back to your tabletop. This is the same thing on the other side. Take your right leg and stretch it back. Left leg and stretch it back and cross that left foot to the outside of the right leg, crossing over. Again, you're pushing back, the heel back, and then have your hips shift slightly towards the left side so you create a crescent shape. And come on back into your tabletop. Now coming back onto your forearms, back into your tabletop. Okay, and then we are actually making our way down onto our belly next. So Prop onto your forearms and lower your belly down into the ground, pointing your toes, Sphinx pose. Create a 90-degree angle with your elbow and have your elbows stacked directly under your shoulders. Palms down, spreading those fingers. Toes pointed back, feet about hips width apart or slightly closer together. Now dig your forearms onto the ground and pull your chest slightly forward, very gently. Lift your chin up slightly and close your eyes. One more deep breath. Come all the way down onto the ground. Hands by your chest. Push back up into tabletop. Tuck your toes under. And draw the hips back towards the heels. Place your forehead closer towards the ground. Arms stretched out straight. Okay. And then coming back onto your belly once again. And you can either do the Sphinx pose as before, or we're going to do our cobra. So a little bit more. So hands slightly by your chest. Slightly under the shoulders. Tuck your elbows in close towards one another. Toes pointed. And draw your chest forward and up. It can be a gentle cobra with your knees, with your elbows slightly bent, or you can straighten your arms a little bit more. Okay, so always chest forward and up so that you're not compressing through the low back. And I'll stay here for a few more breaths. One more. And then release all the way down onto the floor. Tuck your toes under, push back up into tabletop, and draw the hips back towards the heels. Okay, let's come on back up to the tabletop pose and get ready to come into the first downward facing dog. So adjust as necessary. Have your hands about shoulders width apart. Take it up and back, downward dog. So want to look for that nice long spine, even if that means bending your knees a little and pushing the hips up high, having your biceps line up with the ears line up with the biceps. Okay, rise up onto your tiptoes, bend both knees, press the belly closer towards the thighs, and straighten one leg by pressing that heel closer down towards the mat, keeping the other knee bent, and then switch. And switch. Once more. Downward facing dog, both heels a little straighter, closer towards the ground, legs a little straighter. And send your gaze up in between the hands, and let's walk the feet to the top of the mat to arrive in forward fold. So forward bend, knees a little soft. Feel free to move around a little here if you need to. And you can roll out your shoulders, nod your head. Okay, bend your knees. Let's come up to standing. So all the way up, you can reach your arms up and over. Let the palms touch overhead. Gentle back bend and hands in prayer. And from here, let's take a side stretch. And inhale, reach your arms overhead. Interlace fingers, pointed index fingers. So we'll take an inhale to lift really tall and exhale over to the left side. So leaning towards the left, hips slightly to the right. You'll create a banana shape or crescent shape with the spine. One last deep breath. And inhale your way back to the center and leaning over to the right. Just a little bit more length through the left side of the body. And inhale your way back to the center. Release your hands and interlace the fingers behind you. And squeeze those arms in towards one another, shoulder blades towards one another as well. Push the hands slightly away from the hips. Puff your chest up towards the ceiling. Keep projecting the chest up. And let's fold forward. Hands bound behind you, pressing the fingertips towards the front or towards the floor. And release your hands down onto the floor. Step your left foot back so your right foot remains forward, front knee over the front ankle, and gently lower the back knee down onto the mat, pointing the back toe. Press your pelvic bone down and forward, so you're always, as though you're trying to place that left thigh closer towards the ground. Keep pushing the hips down and forward gently. You can stay here, but I think most of us can make our way up onto with the hands on your thighs. So if that's too much, just keep your hands on the ground. Good. Relax your shoulders and try to lift your belly away from your thighs. Chin lifts up slightly. Good. Left hand lift up towards the ceiling. Right hand remains on your thighs, on your right thigh. And then lean towards the right side, so you create this little side stretch on the left side of the body. Here, one more. Inhale your way back up. Place your left hand on the ground and rotate your chest towards the right side. So here's our spinal twist. You can keep your right hand on your right thigh or lift your right hand up towards the ceiling. If you prefer, you can also tuck the left toes under behind you and lift your left knee off the ground, so a little stronger. We'll stay here a couple more breaths. This last breath, if you could, spin open a little bit more, reaching the right hand a little further back. And then bring that right hand down onto the ground. Take it back to downward facing dog. A little bit of movement. Pedaling out the feet, shifting the hips side to side. So just be a little bit more intuitive about these movements in between. Alright, let's go for the left foot forward. So help it up. Left foot up in between the hands. Gently lower the back knee down. We've got dragon pose. Great for the hips, the front of the hips. So we're pressing the hips down and forward as if you're trying to place your right thigh on the ground. Make sure the front knee is over the front ankle. You don't want it too far forward or too far back, so it's a nice straight line off your shin. Stay here or prop yourself up, hands on the front thigh. Shoulders away from your ears, lifting your chin up slightly. Keep pressing those hips down and forward gently. We've got your left hand on the thigh, right hand reaching up and arcing over towards the left side. Inhale your way back up. Place your right hand on the ground and twist your chest towards the left. You can use your left hand to help with the twist. Stay there. Or reach your left hand up towards the ceiling. Option, tuck the right toes under behind you and lift that right knee off the mat. One more breath if you could use a little bit more. Open up a little bit more, left hand reaching back. And then unwind, bring that left hand down onto the mat, take it back to downward facing dog, a little bit of movement, pedaling out the feet, shifting your hips side to side. And send your gaze up in between the hands, bring your feet to the top of the mat, come into forward bend, forward fold. Bend your knees. And take a time to roll all the way up to standing. And draw your shoulders away from your ears. Make any adjustments you need to make. And then we'll do another side stretch. So inhale, reach your arms up and over. Interlace fingers and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Big inhale, lift. Exhale over to the right. Inhale back to the center, exhale over to the left. Inhale back to the center and release your hands and place your hands on your low back, like you're sticking it in back pockets. Squeeze the elbows in towards one another and puff your chest. So feet are rooted about hips width apart. Puff your chest up towards the ceiling. If you have to, shift your hips slightly forward to compensate as you lift the chest. You feel that stretch to the front of the body. Keep your breath flowing. 2 more. Okay, draw your belly in. And as you inhale, come all the way back up. And then release, soften. You inhale to reach your arms up and over. And exhale, forward fold. If forward bend is hard enough for you, stay as you are. If it's okay for you to reach your hands on the ground, walk your hands slightly forward and shift your hips back as you're trying to push the hips backwards. You could also lift your toes off the ground. So this is intense. Just do what is available for you. Do what you can do. Let your head drop in between the arms for 1 more breath. And then soften. Lower the feet down onto the ground. And let's step the left foot back once again in your lunge. And gently lower the back knee down onto the mat. Okay. Stay here or lift up. Hands on the front thigh. You could also lift both arms up and over. A big inhale to lift the chest up towards the ceiling, just a gentle back bend. And of course, if you want a little bit more, with control, chest puffs up, hands reaching behind you. Okay. If that hurts your shoulders, an alternative is to reach your hands and bind your hands behind you. And you've also got an option to take the back bend here. Chest lifts up. 1 more. Okay, and then we'll release that soften. Bring your hands into prayer and see if you can hook the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So, if that's not available today, you can keep your left hand down and reach your right hand up, no problem. This is a good twist either way. And of course, if you want a little bit more, you could try curling the left toes under and lifting the left knee off the mat. So you can push that left tricep in towards your right thigh to help with the twist. Good. Carefully unwind back to the front, and if you have your left knee off the ground, lower it down and gently shift the hips back. You can point the back toes now. Straighten the front leg and you can walk your hands in a little closer towards the body and just a quick counter stretch for the hamstrings. Coming back forward into your lunge and then walk your body away from the knee, taking a bit of a side stretch. One last deep breath here. Walk your hands back towards the front, back to downward facing dog. A little bit of movement once again. Step the left foot forward, come into runner's lunge. Help it up, front knee over the front ankle. Gently lower the back knee down onto the ground, pointing the back toe. And hips presses down and forward, stay here. Hands on the front thigh. Or lift your hands overhead. Option to take a back bend here. Puffing your chest up towards the ceiling, drawing your arms and shoulders back a little. Now, again, if this is too much, right, for the shoulders, you can interlace the fingers behind you and still take a back bend. Good. Then relax that and bring your hands down onto the ground. shifting your hips back, just keeping the legs where they are, shifting your hips back so that the left leg is straighter. You can walk your hands in a little closer towards the body. Yeah, let's walk those hands back forward, coming back into that lunge. And bring your hands into prayer position. I forgot to take the twist, so let's do that. Bring your right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Hands in prayer. Right, if you need more here, feel free to tuck the right toes under behind you and then lift the right knee off the ground. So with your right tricep pushing against your left thigh, it helps with the twist. Almost there. Okay. Unwind back to the front. Hands on either side of the front foot, lower the back knee down. So still in your lunge, just take that side stretch. Hands on the inside of the left foot. Walk your hands towards the right side. You can side stretch. Alright, come on back to the middle, back to the center, and back to downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet. Okay. Gently lower the knees down onto the ground, and we'll do one more puppy pose. It's great for the shoulders, but also the spine. Okay, so let's walk those hands forward. This time we're placing the forearms on the ground and melting the chest down towards the ground. If you need a little bit more, palms together. Continue to melt the chest down and then bring your chin closer towards the floor so your gaze is forward, slightly forward. And you can adjust if your hips are too far back. Keep your hips up a little higher, walk slightly forward. And then relax that and crawl all the way onto your belly, pointing your toes. Hands by your chest, squeeze those arms in towards one another and lift up into cobra. Again, it can be a gentle cobra, it can be a deeper one, or if you're not doing cobra today, prop back up onto your forearms for Sphinx. Okay, so let's stay here a couple more breaths. Yeah, and then release all the way down onto the ground. And come on back up into your tabletop. Take the knees out a little wider and bring your toes together. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see what I'm talking about. Knees a little wider, toes together. And bring your left hand directly under your face. And take your right hand and reach it up towards the ceiling. Same right hand now, threads under the chest to the opposite side, bringing the right shoulder down onto the ground and the head as well. So you can stay here, or you can take your left hand and reach it up. And so you're pushing both hands away from one another, so increasing the twist. Some of you might prefer to bring that left arm across the low back. Sorry, mixing up my lefts and right today. So you bring that arm across the low back. You can tuck the hand to the inside of your right thigh for some of you. Depends on your shoulders sometimes, you know. Might not be able to reach the inner thigh. Okay, let's unwind back to the front and we'll do the same thing on the other side. You've got your left hand directly into the face, no, right hand directly into the face. Left hand reaching up. Left hand threads under the chest to the other side. Okay, here we go. You've got the twist. Stay here. Reach that right hand up towards the ceiling, pressing those hands away from one another. And you've got the option to bring the top arm across the low back, maybe looking for the inside of your left thigh. So twist open a little bit more. unwind back to the front. Make your way back up into tabletop. And just on your own, a few of those cats and cows. And then we're making our way down into seated. And placing your right foot to the outside of the left thigh. You can keep that left leg straight out, or you can tuck it in. Both are good. Okay. This time we're trying to come into a deeper twist. So you could do the same thing as we did at the start of the class, wrapping your left elbow around the right knee, or you can try bringing the elbow to the outside. And then the soft gaze over the right shoulder. Good. One last deep breath here. And unwind back to the front. Okay. It's a quick twist to the opposite side, quick bow. And back up to seated. Tuck both feet over to the right. Stacking the feet. Okay. And you've got your right hand on the ground, left hand reaching up and over. One more breath. Okay, come back up to seated. This time the left foot is to the outside of the right thigh with the option of tucking the right foot in. So you've got your left hand somewhere behind you and maybe the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. So seated tall, a soft twist, a soft gaze over the left shoulder. One more breath here. Okay, we'll unwind back to the front and a quick bow over to the opposite side. Back up to seated and tuck both feet over to the left side. You've got your left hand on the ground. Right hand reaches up and over for mermaid pose. Inhale your way back to the center, and we'll finish off with cobbler's pose here. One more time. Soles of the feet together, knees open up, and again you can have your hands by your sides, just slightly behind you, and hinge forward or come into a more rounded spine version, your choice. All right. Come on back up to seated, and we're making our way down onto our back. So come on down onto your back. And hug your knees into the chest. Give it a little bit of roll out, rocking side to side and drawing circles with those knees in one direction and then the next. And we're going to finish off with a really nice spinal twist here. Of course, if you have a favorite twist that you like to take, I always encourage you to take your own twist that feels good for your body. So the one that I enjoy doing is a simple twist on the back. So your arms are stretched out about shoulder height. If you don't have space, just bring it into more of a cactus position. This serves as a purpose to glue the shoulders down onto the mat. Okay. Bump your hips, have your feet flat on the ground, knees pointed up towards the ceiling. Bump your hips towards the right side of the mat, and then let the knees drop to the left. And if this feels too much, you can place a block in between the knees, or you can just use your hands to help with the twist here. So your left hand just on top of your right thigh, and the weight of the arm should help deepen the twist. And if you need a little bit more, of course, you can try wrapping one leg on top of the other. Right knee over the left in eagle legs usually feels really good. And then to finish it off, chin over to the right side. Inhale your way back to the center, unwind those legs. Bump your hips towards the left side of the mat with the right hip tucked under slightly, and the knees to the right, chin to the left. And yes, if you need more, wrap the left knee over the right eagle legs. Yeah. Alright, and weighing back to the center, knees back to the middle of the mat. Make sure your hips are centered, lining up with the shoulders. Any final movements here might be good. If you want to just hug your knees in for a little bit of a roll out. Any final stretches that you need to take, if you feel is missing, please feel free to take them. And then we're going to come into Shavasana. So when you're ready, stretch those legs out, take up space on your mat. Close your eyes. And we'll find softness. Okay, find softness. Let the body grow heavy and sink deep into your space. And with calm, relaxed body and calm, relaxed mind, enjoy your rest in Shavasana. Very slowly, peacefully, and calmly, begin to make your way out of this pose. You can slowly move your fingers, your toes, and roll out your wrists and ankles, just bringing sensations back to the body. Let your head gently drop side to side. If you'd like to take a big stretch, reach your arms overhead, stretch long from toes to fingertips, a big reach, big inhale, and exhale to release. Alright, let's make our way back up to seated now. I'd like to thank you for going through this class with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much. Namaste.